Good. Shall we round things out by talking about a film that I will never not pronounce Volver, now that I've found out how much it annoys my wife?
Yeah, so we'll move on to the last film we're covering here, and honestly, this is one I know exactly what to say about, and it's all good. In Bad Education, there is seen a movie poster for a fictional film called La Abuela Fantasma, or The Phantom Grandmother, which was, in fact, the working title for this film. Volver, which means to return or come back in Spanish, and was left untranslated for the English market, begins in a small village in mountainous La Mancha, where Penelope Cruz's Raimunda joins the other women of the village in tending to and cleaning the graves. Job done, she, her daughter Paula, Joana Cobo, and her sister Soledad, Lola Dueñas, visit their elderly aunt Paula, Chus Lampreave. They are concerned for her well-being, as she is confused and infirm, but, well, she seems well fed. This, though, they largely accept as being due to Aunt Paula's kindly neighbour Agustina, Blanca Portillo, who checks up on her daily. Certainly, they put little stock in the idea that she's being visited by the ghost of Raimunda and Soleil's mother, who died in a fire 4 years earlier, despite what Aunt Paula says about her sister coming to visit her. The east wind is relentless in the mountains, and it's well known that it drives the people mad. Returning to Madrid, Raimunda finds her husband Paco, Antonio de la Torre, drunk, now unemployed, and, though she's unaware of it, leering over teenage Paula. This soon becomes a much bigger issue, as an unwelcome advance in Paula sees Paula in a state and Paco on the floor, with much of his blood on the outside. Raimunda takes charge and temporarily places Paco's body in the freezer of her neighbour's for-sale restaurant, the safeguarding of which he is entrusted to her while he's in Barcelona. Life, with its customary inconvenient timing, the next day delivers another blow to Raimunda. Her beloved Aunt Paula has died, yet she can't leave to go to the funeral because of, the whole corpse in the freezer thing. Her sister Soleil does return to the mountain village though, and when she gets back to Madrid, she finds something rather unexpected in her car. Her mother, Irene, Carmen Maura. Yes, the dead one, that's right. Irene has unfinished business. Her daughters, though primarily Raimunda. But she swears Soledad to secrecy for now until the time is right, so hides out in Soleil's flat and pretends to be a Russian. As ghosts will do, apparently. Irene and Soledad's relationship was difficult, but when mother and daughter are finally reunited, truths are told and families made whole. Volver deals with some really weighty stuff, including parental abandonment, betrayal, illness and more. Not to mention death, dying, not being alive anymore and lack of life. Yet it is so light, vibrant, joyful and funny without ever being flippant, suffering from tonal inconsistency or ever feeling like it is anything less than absolutely sincere. Jose Luis Alcaíni's lush and vivid photography is complemented by a great score by Alberto Iglesias, and together they create a world in which I would happily spend yet more hours. But the film belongs to Penelope Cruz, who has never been better and without whom it's hard to imagine a film working even a quarter as well. She's radiant, captivating, beautiful, glamorous yet also down to earth. Above all, she's sensual. A mass of dark locks and unconscious sexiness whose perfume you can almost smell. 40 years earlier and she'd have been Sophia Loren. But she's not here as an object of desire. Though there are men, very much in the periphery in this film, who desire her. For now she has much more important things to tend to, and all that she has to give is for her family and her friends. Pedro Almodovar is often considered a women's director, and it's truer than ever in Volver. Cruz's Raimunda is hard-working, generous of time and spirit, determined, resourceful and never self-pitying, and, like the other women of the film, quite capable of getting by without menfolk. For Raimunda and her friends and family, men are nuisance, men are threat, men are heartbreak, or men are irrelevancies. But it's not an anti-man film. The whole point of Volver is that it's simply not about them. The women here, both as actors and characters, are tremendous, real and engaging, believable, human, even if some of the things happening to them seem to come from the telenovelas that partly inspired the film. As I mentioned, Penelope Cruz is the film's centre, but I'll add some notes of praise for two others in particular. Carmen Maura, who fell out with the director during Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown and only returned to his films here, is mischievous as Irene, and Lola Dueñas Soli displays so much melancholy and loneliness in her face alone that she doesn't even need to speak. The bright colours of Voltaire's palette, especially the red, signify passion, but passion for what? Many things. Everything, perhaps. But I think mostly life. For a film about death in so many ways, it really isn't about that at all, nor any of the other bad things. It's about life and love, and it's magnificent.
Yeah, it's a nice light-hearted knockabout comedy about incest and murder, as they so frequently are. Yeah, I love Volver. Liked it at the time, and I like it a lot more now, if anything. I'm not sure I can really add much more than all you're saying there. Again, table stakes. Really, really well acted. Looks fantastic. This one, again, it takes a lot of the kind of flourishes of Bad Education that were kind of sort of clever in the abstract, but didn't really land for me. Absolutely land in Volver. An absolutely tremendous central performance. It's not perfect. If I'm going to be hypercritical about it, there are points that I almost wish that I hadn't brought up. Like, there's a point where Paula bemoans the fact that she's killed her father, and you don't know how that affects me. And I thought, yeah, that's right. I don't know how it affects you. I wonder how you're going to tell me over the rest of the film. You don't. She's barely mentioned in it at all after that. So it's certainly not examining absolutely everything that's going on in here, despite some pretty heavy events. But somehow it gets away with it because the tone of the rest of it is so light-hearted that I don't think it would really fit if they tried to explore any of that, which is, I don't know, maybe it's a case of special pleading for it, but it doesn't seem to harm the film at all when it's missing what could be fairly significant chunks about how it would affect some of the characters that are in it. But that would probably get in the way of the rest of it, which is, as you say, just a really warm-hearted look at families and friends and how these can pull together and be pulled apart and come back together in a way that actually feels at least emotionally realistic, if not in the terms of the events, all of which are a bit hyper real, both in the past and in the present. But I think in terms of an emotional truth, it gets a bit closer to it than perhaps a real narrative truth. That sounds a bit pretentious. What I'm trying to say is I like it an awful lot. Yes, I liked it an awful lot, and I can't really add much more than what you're saying there. Yeah, it's just a really tremendous and warm-hearted film that has great love for its characters and shows them a great deal of respect, which is reflected in my opinion of it. Yeah, really, really good.
I was just scanning through the entry in Wikipedia for this, and it being Wikipedia, it's spelled not well written, but also it ends the plot synopsis with the line saying that Irene reveals her presence to Agustina, who believes her to be a ghost. But then, I like reading all the plot synopsis with that. It's described her as a ghost in every single mention of her. You know she's not actually a ghost, right? Sorry to spoil things here, but it's not a ghost story. There's nothing supernatural about this.
It's explicitly said in the film. It's not like we've got any kind of weird fan theories here. It's explicitly said that she's not a ghost.
Yeah, as if it wasn't obvious anyway, the fact that everybody else can see her and she's just pretending to be a Russian so that she doesn't give away the fact that she's Spanish. Yeah. Sorry, I know that doesn't have anything to do with anything and what you're saying, but I was listening to you, Scott. I was just struck by the nonsense that is on the obviously never wrong Wikipedia. Yeah, it's just a beautiful film, and it's one I could just watch endlessly. And yeah, I think it's a good one to go out on. I think there's not much about Almodovar's work, I think, that requires building up to or anything like that. But you maybe appreciate more films if you'd seen some of his style. But he's a pretty accessible director. And so you could dip in anywhere. I still think the film he started with, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, probably is just a really good entry point to give you a real flavour. Although if you were to only watch one, why? I don't know, but if you were to only watch one, then Volver has to be the one that you go for, because it's a stunning film. Yeah. I would concur. Yeah, Volver is just absolutely a tremendous film. God, you can't really go wrong between that and All About My Mother as well.
Yeah. I would concur. Yes, I would certainly think Revolver is highly worth looking at. Have you somehow not done so already? And certainly the easiest film to recommend of all this we've spoken about today.